Yes, welcome everyone here to the Smash Sports Show right here on Smash FM here on a Friday here in Melbourne. Of course, let's go up to our friends up in the beautiful part of the country, of course, they're in the northern New South Wales town of Ballina, and of course, being about the Bombers seeing women's football team. And of course, we've got a very special guest on the show. Of course, her name's Hayley. She joins us right now. Thanks, Hayley, for joining us.
Hey, Will, how you going? Nice to be here.
Nice to meet you too.
Mm-hmm.
Season so far for the same women's team?
Yeah, look, we've had a pretty solid year this year. We've kind of been building definitely the last few years. So we've had a great season so far. We were undefeated up until last week. We went down in one of the qualifying finals to a really worthy team. So we've had a great season so far, and we've got a final this weekend, and then the grand final, hopefully, if we get through the following weekend. So pretty busy time of year, but yeah, the girls are gelling well.
Did the loss in the qualifying final, did that help in regarding to, you got a double chance to get through to the grand final this coming week?
Yeah, I don't know what you think, but it's always a bit tricky, I think. Being undefeated throughout the year and then kind of going down in one of the finals, it can be a bit of a shock to the team, but I think it's probably good to get a bit of a fire under us and get us ready for the finals. So although it was a shock and it was a really hard game, I'm pretty confident that we're feeling quite good after it, and it's a good way to get us spurred on for this weekend and then the grand final, hopefully.
Tell us a bit about your leadership group there.
Yeah, so we've got Ellie, who's the captain. So Ellie's been one of the Ballina Bomber players for quite a number of years. I think the club itself, for the women's side, we've been going for 7 years now. And Ellie's been along for the ride for a majority of the time, and she's stepped into the captaincy role this year, which has been awesome to see her really go from strength to strength. She's a funny one, and she can be a little bit quiet at times, but we've seen her really lift this past year and show us that she's a very worthy captain and leader. So cheers to Ellie. She's been awesome. We've got Amy Keane, so amazing forward player. She's one of our vice captains, and yeah, she's had a bit of bad luck this year, Amy has, with a few injuries and a few different things, but has been a great support for the team and a really great leader. Unfortunately, she's had, as I said, a few injuries, and so she won't be able to play finals with us, which we're all pretty devastated at, and as I know she is. And then we've got a few other of the leadership guys who've been around for a few years, Pato and Schultze and myself, and it's always a fun team. It's great to get around each other. So they're some of the leadership people for the Bombers this year.
How's the preparations like for the second semi-final?
Yeah, good. We've definitely came away from last week's game with a few things to focus on, and Abe and the leadership group have been focusing on that training. So yeah, we trained last night and on Tuesday night, and I think we're looking pretty solid for the weekend. As I said, there was a few things to focus on, but we played pretty well last weekend. They just were the better team on the day. But as everything, you can always think of hindsight and think of a few of the different points that we need to focus on. So yeah, this week we'll be really focusing on, I guess, what we've been doing kind of all year is supporting each other at the contested ball. So making sure that we're not just kind of running out by ourselves. We've kind of got at least three people kind of at contesting the ball and there to back each other up. So really one of our major things is kind of teamwork and ensuring that we're first to the footy, all of the basic kind of stuff. So yeah, our preparations has been good so far. We're pretty confident going into this game.
Tell us a bit about your coaches and especially the way they've gone about not just this week, but the season, especially guiding this team through an outstanding season so far.
Yeah, sure. So Abe is our coach. He's a standalone coach for us. He's coached this year, 2024, and last year as well. we came pretty close to the flag last year. We were in the grand final, but unfortunately didn't make it through. But Abe is a very talented coach and a very smart guy. He's been able to lead us very, very well, and he's quite strategic in the way that he plays. So, it's not just kind of turning up to training and he's thinking about drills that we'll do on the day. It's very planned out. It's very strategic for the year. So he's a very talented coach. We do like to get around him. He's a fairly mild-mannered, young guy, but sometimes he can get pretty fired up, which the girls like to get around at game days. It can be pretty funny, and I guess, one of the things that we look forward to is when Abe does put a bit of a fighter under us if we're not performing to the way that we should be, and that's always kind of good to see. But overall, he's a very well-respected coach, and he is definitely one of the main reasons that we've gotten so far the last few years is his the way that he sees the game and his strategic direction for our team.
How was he like this week then after the loss?
Look, he does it respectful. He was pretty happy with how we had played. As I said, there was a few things that we wanted to focus on, but he never kind of turns up and berates us. He's not that type of coach at all, just more of that kind of motivational stuff during game day when we really need to lift. He definitely brings that to the table when he needs to. This week he was fine. He was great as usual.
Tell us a bit about your football journey. Where did it all start and why did you choose it?
Yeah, well, I'm pretty old. You probably could tell that, but I've been around for a few years. So, like I mentioned before, I actually started playing AFL when I was 30. So I came to Ballina. I was in the area and looking for something to I guess do and a way to make friends. So I had played a little bit of AFL like in school, but never actually played outside of school. And myself and a few friends decided to join the Ballina Bombers for the very first inaugural year, which is 2017, I think. That's seven years ago, and I've been playing pretty much every season since then. I've had one season off, which I was assistant coach when I was pregnant, and then have been, and then obviously had my baby, and I was back kind of playing the next year. So I've only been playing for 7 years or 6 years, but love it, and it's definitely been a way that I've been able to make friends and have a lot of fun, and kind of definitely fell in love with the game after the first year, and I think we've seen it go from strength to strength with the AFLW, and we like to get behind that as a club as well. So I'm not the best player on the team, but I definitely turn up for the fun and the fitness and all of that. So,
any highlights throughout your journey? I'm assuming a premiership would have been a couple of those.
Yeah. So 2020, I think it was our premiership year. That definitely was a highlight, a huge highlight, to be honest. Yeah, that was an amazing year. It's hard to pinpoint any other highlights. It's just, overall, it's just been a really great group of people to get to know. I think those first couple of years was pretty wild, and probably a highlight just being, part of the inaugural women's team to start up in this region. So that's probably a highlight. And look, I'm here for the fun, so I like the footy trips and I like all the other stuff that goes along with it as well. So they're probably some of my highlights as well.
Okay, I need to ask you this as a follow-up then.
Sure.
Where was the best footy trip that you've had, that the team has had throughout the years? And where is this year's footy trip, if you don't mind me asking?
Good question. Well, I would like to tell you, Will, where it is, but I can't. We don't know. So It's a bit of it's a bit of a tradition. We whoever organises it each year tends to keep it a bit of a secret. So we pay our money. We know that we're kind of going to be, within about an hour and a half or 2 hours drive from Ballina, and we'll get sent the directions usually the morning of. So it's a bit of a tradition, which is fun. Like it's a cool, I guess a cool tradition that we've been carrying through for the last few years. The one of the best locations of footy trip, we went to Cuchimudlo Island. So it's an island just off the coast of Brisbane. Yeah, and we stayed in this almost like a little campy type place with different cabins and stuff. And yeah, one of the highlights of that footy trip is we hired like a barbecue boat, but there was too many people for us to actually fit on the barbecue boat, and we all had these flotation like devices. So we kind of just like, yeah, there was about 25, 30 girls hanging off the back of this barbecue boat in all different types of floaties and all that kind of thing. And we kind of just got dragged around for a few hours. It was, yeah, a bit of carnage, but it was a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Now, the 2020 premiership,
Yes.
of course, that was during the COVID year, and the first year of COVID.
Just
Uh,
before, yeah, yeah.
yep. Tell us a bit about the season, and especially for the fact that, you know, there would have been some delays in the season. I'm sure it would have been a bit of a shorter season as well. What does that mean to the team, and especially to be rewarded in such difficult times?
Look, I'm so sorry. I'm not one for details. I remember footy and I remember a lot of things about footy, but going back a few years ago, I'm probably not the best person to talk to when it comes to things like that. I do remember the grand final very well. We played it in Tweed. We played against Byron. It was a very low scoring game and we ended up just winning off points, which was interesting. Very, very low scoring game. I can't even remember what it was, but it was definitely only kind of, I think, yeah, 1 or 2 goals for each side. And then we ended up winning off points. We were happy to get away with that win against Byron because we'd had, initially when we started, we only had three teams to play against. It was us, Tweed, Byron, and Lismore, and we'd had a few years of Byron being on top, so we were happy to take out that top spot. It definitely felt really good. I think it was a pretty okay season leading up to that. Yeah, I think the following year was probably a bit trickier with some of the COVID restrictions, and unfortunately, yeah, it must have been that year. So after that year, we ended up joining the year after possibly, we ended up joining the Queensland comp. So we had a local comp and then we ended up joining AFLQ for the Division 2 South competition. And that was really tricky because we're right on the border or close enough to the border that we couldn't actually play a lot of those games because, with the COVID restrictions, you couldn't go from border to border. So yeah, 21, 22 were really, really tricky years with COVID restrictions. And we were, I think it was either 22, maybe we were quite high up on the ladder for most of the year, but it got to grand final time and we couldn't, or finals time, and we couldn't actually attend any of the finals because they were in Queensland. So yeah, it was extra tricky around those times, definitely.
I have to ask, with all premiership teams and especially players in particular, I know it was 4 years ago,
Yeah.
but did you get a chance to kiss on the cup at any stage? And how long did you wear your medals around your neck for?
Good question. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we all got a kiss of the cup probably a number of times. So we had a bit of a bender after that final, and I think we probably wore those medals for the majority of that bender, which I think went for a few days, definitely more than 24 hours. Still in our jerseys for some of that as well. And then, yeah, that kind of silly Sunday, Mad Monday time, yeah, I think we were still wearing our jerseys, and I think the flag was coming along with us for some of that as well. So, yeah, definitely a lot of fun after that win.
What does the sport of football mean to you, and especially playing for the Ballina Bombers?
Yeah, like I've mentioned a little bit before, it probably means more around kind of teamwork and fun. That's like the biggest thing for us as well. I think for a fairly small local town, it's around getting around each other as well. So around obviously us as a team, but also our men's team as well, and any of the other local teams. I like to think that we're pretty an inclusive club. So inclusive of obviously, a range of different people. We have quite younger often younger girls coming through, like high school or just out of high school. And then, there's some older people as well, myself included, kind of 40 plus or around that time. So I think football for me really means, fun, kind of an inclusive environment and a bit of fitness. In terms of for Ballina and being in this particular team, yeah, I think friendships is probably one of the main thing that I get from footy, and also just a bit of healthy competition, a way to stay fit and probably exercise and tackle and do all that hard work that can be quite rewarding as well.
What would be your advice to people that should get involved in footy?
Just do it. I think I think it means lots of different things for lots of different people, but usually, like I said, if you find a club that's really inclusive, you're going to feel welcome. You're going to be able to meet a lot of different people, learn a new skill or learn a number of different skills. And I think you're not too young or you're not too old or you're not, there's always space for people in clubs. People bring a lot of different different skills. So just rock up, be brave, meet some new people, and I'm sure everyone would have a cool time.
Let's finish on a couple of light-hearted questions about your teammates.
Oh, okay.
Who had the most embarrassing moment on the field this season, and what was it?
Oh, I'm terrible with these types of things. I don't know about the most embarrassing thing. I honestly, I can't think of anything that's coming to my mind at the moment. I think thing that was quite tricky, not really embarrassing, but tricky, is one of the players kind of yelled at the ref ball, which was like a pretty reasonable call at the time, and they got a 50, so that everyone kind of berated them for that. Which not everybody, but they got berated for that. So that was a bit of a tricky one for one of our players, Maggie. But apart from that, I can't really think of anything too embarrassing. There's always kind of at least one or two people that run the wrong way during a that's always a little bit tricky. So one of the things traditions that we tend to do at the end of each quarter as we're running back onto the field, and one of the girls started this a few years ago, is you say that way, that way, that way. So we make sure that everybody is aware of which way we're going just before we run out on the field. Because we've definitely had that a number of times, kicking the wrong direction, running in the wrong direction. So
No. Now I have to ask as well, who's the comedian, the best singer, and the best dancer on the team?
Comedian. There's a few. There's a fair few funny people on the team. I think Pato is underrated. She's got Pato has quite dry humor, which can be quite funny on and off the field. Usually off the field and having a few drinks. I'd like to probably bet Fisty. She's probably would be very proud that I'm saying this. She's probably the best dancer, especially to like the Eagle Rock. That's one of the things that we do. Yes, which I'm sure you're aware of. Singer, I actually wouldn't know, but I'm gonna say, I'm going to say Beck Ward. Yeah. So, actually, no, I take that back. 100% take that back. The best singer on the team would probably have to be our coach, Abe. He likes to really, really belt out a few kind of classics. So Robbie Williams and some really funny ones. If you're around for that, it's definitely a good time. Okay, well, next time I might try and get a video, and then I can send it to you, and then you can show all your listeners what Abe's singing like. I'm sure he'd be super stoked with that.
Well, finish with these last two. Do you have a pre-game superstition or ritual?
Not overly, no. I guess I'm kind of, again, one of the older girls on the team, so they're like younger girls likes to wear the smaller socks. I have like socks from the first or second season. So they've been around for probably a little too many years, and they're the really, really high socks that I like to wear. So that's probably one of the things that I maybe get a little bit of flack for. There's me and a few few of the other old girls that like to wear the older ones. Yeah, look, apart from that, I guess I just try and be have as much energy around everybody as possible, but nothing too superstitious. Too superstitious, yeah.
Any good nicknames in the team we should know about?
We've had a few over the years that are quite interesting. I guess we've got Stiffy. That's a good one. We've got a Stiffy. We've got a Cocky. We've had a Boxy. We've had a Fisty, Stiffy, Boxy, Cocky. So yeah, there's a few questionable or interesting ones that are down that similar kind of line. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But Hayley, thank you so much for getting up some of your time to join us. It's awesome having you on the show. And please send our best wishes to your teammates for us for the rest of this final series, especially this weekend. And let's hope you can bounce back and get through to the grand final, because obviously the team fully deserve to be there on grand final day. So please send our best wishes, and hopefully you can go all the way and win it all.
Yes, that's the plan. Thank you so much, Phil. Cheers.
No worries. And that's Hayley there joins from the Ballina Bombers women's football team. Of course, we'll put the details up on that semi-final game this weekend on our social media. So if you're in the area, you can get down there and cheer them on. There's more on the Smash Sports Show right after this. Don't go away. Here on the 10th year celebration.